And you both know, like with MRIs, they usually take forever to get back to you. So I was like, oh man, something's wrong. I started getting these feelings of vertigo, and I was again at the College of Charleston, South Carolina, and saw some doctors. They said, I think you have like an inner ear issue, so I went and got my ears checked, and then I went got to see an eye doctor, and they said we can give you like the lowest grade of glasses there are possible, um, but still nothing. So, and I've said this before, and I said to my father, I was always a hypochondriac, but I said to him, what if this is a brain tumor? And them being like, this is typical Miles overthinking everything, worst case scenario. There's no way. So I went and finally got an MRI at the Medical University of South Carolina, which was like 15 minutes away from Charleston. And got an MRI, went home. The doctor was super friendly. Went back to college kid stuff, went to bed, woke up to a missed voicemail at, it was like 6:30 a.m. in the morning. And you both know, like with MRIs, they usually take forever to get back to you. So I was like, oh man, something's wrong. So I called my mom, and again, I was a junior in college, actually sophomore in college. I called my mom and I said, Mom, I'm going to get some bad news. I just know it. I'll let you know what happens. So I walked again, back to the MRI. The doctor sat me down, and there was just something. His demeanor was way different. He even gave me a hug, and I was like, oh man. So I sat down, and he pulled up the MRI, and he said, you had an abnormal brain scan. Which, again, I know I've said this before, but I was like, abnormal. So that means like the machine broke or something. We need to do this again. And then he he pointed at this white dot in the middle of my brain, and it was the size of a pea. But he said, "Do you see that right there?" And that's when the whole room started kind of fading out, and I just started saying, "Yeah." And he said, "That is he said, I'm not calling it a tumor because I don't know what it is, but that's something foreign and it's not supposed to be there." And it was just like, boom, everything in the room. I mean, I got that ringing sensation in my ear. I was just nodding my head, yes. Um,
Josh
I'll fast
describes
forward a
his
little bit.
as like an
Sorry.
out of body experience. Like he like floated
Yeah.
like above. Like, did you have an experience like that?
It's exactly like that. The way I would describe it is have you either of you ever seen Saving Private Ryan?
Yeah.
The ringing, like in the opening brutal scene with like the ringing ear.
Oh yeah, the explosion, the ringing, and the
Yeah, where it's
white.
like
Yeah.
slow motion.
Yeah.
It was it was a lot like that.
Oof.
It was utter shock.
Yeah.
It was I got up. I thought, if I ever heard something like that, I would start, crying or being like, "Why me?" But I was just like complete shock. I got up. I was like, "Thank you very much." He handed me a piece of paper and he said, Go see this doctor." I looked down at the post-it note and it said, Carolina Cancer Center.
Mm.
So then it was just like, wow.
It's like another wave, like another.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. So I walked outside and I called my oldest brother, Jake. I'm the youngest of three brothers, and we're all very close.
Oh.
And I called Jake and I said, and at this point, I couldn't tell, but my voice was shaking. And I said, Jake, I have a tumor in my head. And he was like, what? And I said, I'll do the radiation, I'll do the chemo. I'm just not ready to die yet.
Yeah.
And that's when I started tearing up and like I came back down to earth, and I was like, I gotta go. And he said, you're not gonna die. We're gonna get you through this. My mom called. She said, whatever this is, we're gonna beat it. Fast forward, I flew up to Boston. Team of neurologists come in. I'm tied up to a bed with like, yeah, there was probably, I don't know if there was a mass internship going on or something, but there was about 5 doctors in white lab coats surrounding me. So I was kind of like, whoa, how bad is this?
Were you at Mass General?
Brigham and Women's.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I think Mass General is a teaching hospital, so that makes sense. But you know, who knows? Yeah.
So they pegged it right away. They were like, "This is we think this is a ganglioglioma," which at the time I had to. It was like studying for a spelling bee to learn how to say that, ganglioglioma. Someone sick invented that name. But, so, anyways, they said if it is that, we wouldn't be able to tell unless we did a biopsy. But if it is a ganglioglioma, they are one of the rarest brain tumors, but you're lucky because they're also usually always benign.
Right.
So it was in that same hospital bed I was laying there where he said, also, we think that these feelings of vertigo that you're having are seizures. And that's, I was like, what? I didn't understand at the time that there were different types of seizures. I thought there was only convulsant seizures.
Yeah.
So I learned a whole bunch of things in one day about what was going on in my brain.
Yeah. And you said your seizure types were focal, right?
Yes. So they diagnosed it as focal seizures, partial focal seizures.
Almost like a derealization sensation, right? Like you kind of separate,
Exactly.
You get separated from the world around you. You kind of get tunnel vision. You get so it's like not vertigo, but I can see how someone who wouldn't know what's going on, like, oh, this is vertigo. This is me feeling super strange.
It's something I left out too, because I'm glad you brought that up. That's a perfect description of it.
Yeah.
Because I always find it's always difficult to describe my seizures, and I always feel like I'm insane. But even sometimes I'll see something in the corner of my eye, and that will start it.
It'll trigger it, yeah.
Yeah, or like, so at first I thought maybe I was going schizophrenic or something, and it was just, so yeah, like a deal, like you feel detached from society.
Yeah.
It almost feels like you're falling backwards out of a chair. You know that feeling?
Mm-hmm. Which is that vertigo sensation, but it's like vertigo plus this derealization, plus this weird tunnel vision, plus like, do you get like any kind of physical symptoms? Like, do you like shake or anything like that? Like, do your hands, like, do your palms?
Yes, my brothers can tell when I have one because they say my face blushes, I guess. But sometimes I vomit from it and stuff. Yeah. But nothing really physical, like no tremors at all. It's just it's really hard to explain. Yeah. I think you described it perfectly.